Welcome back to Watching the Throne on the Late Night Chat Network, episode 67. Great. I get shot out of a cannon, fucking JT on his steroids here, guys, at fucking 1 in the morning. This is fantastic. Here we go, guys.
400 milligrams. Let's do it.
So, welcome back, everybody, to Watching the Throne.
Prescribed.
Yeah, make sure that you you prescribe to make sure you subscribe to this fucking channel. Hit the thumbs up button, guys. Make sure you're subscribed. And we are in the finale of season 7 of Game of Thrones. Only 6 fucking episodes more to go, guys.
Thank God.
This has been a great journey, though. It's been a lot of fun, and there's a lot to unpack this episode.
I'm starting to look like them, a wildling.
So let's get to it as soon as possible. But yeah, welcome back, everybody. I do want to tease, though, the next week's episode, when we start off the final season, we will be having Christina, a returning guest here to the show. Our friend Christina, who Game of Thrones super fan, will be joining us again for the duration of the rest of this show. Actually, the last season, she should be joining us for every episode. That's the plan, anyways, at this point, and it'll be a lot of fun. So make sure to tune in for those ones, guys. She always has a lot to add to the conversation. Those are always a lot of fun, those episodes.
I can't wait, man.
But yeah, that'll be the last season, and after that we have plans to do House of the Dragon leading into the new season this summer, so make sure to join us for that one too, guys. And thank you for everybody who watches this show and subscribes and everybody who's checked it out. Honestly, it's been a lot of fun. But yeah, we are on episode 67 of Watching the Throne, and we are on the finale, season 7 of the 7th season of Game of Thrones, entitled The Dragon and the Wolf. And JT, I think I said it the last episode, but this is officially, I know this for a fact, the longest episode now. This episode was 1 hour and 19 minutes. So this is definitely the longest episode yet. This is almost 1 hour and a half.
8 pages, buddy.
Yeah, of this show. Big fucking episode, because they had a lot to kind of cover leading into the final season of this show, with even less episodes, one less episode than this season did. But although there is a couple of longer episodes, I think, in the next season. What'd you think of this one, Jay? Did you like this as much as I did? Because I really liked this episode.
This made me want to write books.
How so?
Because, man, it's just so interesting. I mean, you feel like now you can throw your own little plot twist into things, and it's like, right. I mean, obviously, writing 8 pages made me feel like I wrote the book out, right? But I know we're far from that many pages for the book series. But no, this one here, it was a good ending, I think, to a rush, but still I think, somewhat well done season. And from what I hear from the grapevine, that it's probably the best season yet, or maybe the last of the best.
The last of the good seasons.
Some people say opposite, so I don't know what to think.
Again, this is what I've been kind of leading up to. I've been saying throughout the time that we've watched this show. And again, this is for whatever reason, if this is the first time you've tuned into this show, as a recap, this is my first time rewatching the show. I've seen the show the whole way through years ago when it originally aired, but I've never gone back to rewatch it. Yeah. And JT, this is his first time watching it, so getting his reactions about these things is kind of fun in that sense as well. But like, for me, again, the coming together of all the characters in King's Landing, that fucking scene is one of my favorite fucking scenes in all of the whole show, because I remember the first time seeing that scene of everybody that comes together in King's Landing when they reveal the undead creature in front of Cersei in this one, the White Walker. It's nice to see everybody finally together there, like, and interacting with one another. They have so much history with each other, these characters, across these several seasons. The payoff for me was just ultimately very satisfying in that moment. And I know We rushed a lot throughout the season to get there. I know we haven't focused on as many of the storylines that we've kind of had prior to this point in time, because it's now very singular in the sense that we're even combining the White Walker storyline and the Throne storyline all really together as one. I know that. I understand why some people don't like that. But as a fan, for me, it's still extremely fucking satisfying seeing everybody come together in that one scene. Like, for me, it's still one of my favorite scenes of the show. Call me crazy, but it was a lot of fun as a fan of seeing all these characters come together. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
and I see it as like what you're saying, but I also see it that they can also see what they're up against in that sense. So they all know. And they all can't say they're on different pages because they all know what they just see, so we'll see what happens from that, because there's, like I said, another season still after this. And
this is just one of those fan servicey moments that I feel like fans of any franchise rarely get to kind of enjoy, right? Because like sometimes when they throw everybody into a whole one big scenario, it doesn't really pan out well, or and here's this, and honestly, who's to say from here on out if it will, right? Well, that's what I mean. But like,
will we see any of these characters later on?
For this moment, though, in this one episode, when they all kind of came together in King's Landing, and again, this is the last of a lot of people that died on the show, right?
The last of whoever's left. Right?
Exactly. So they kind of put all their eggs in one basket for this one scene, right? And like, for me, I found it completely satisfying, and I still find it satisfying. And I have alluded to this scene, I think, in previous seasons of the show that we've talked about here as we gone through episode by episode. Not in so many words, because I wasn't trying to spoil it for you. But yeah, this was a lot of fun this episode for that reason alone. So we'll get to it.
But the ending was crazy. That's all I know.
Yeah, and there's a lot to unpack here. And there's some things I didn't love as well. There's a lot of nitpicks as well. So let's get to it.
Yeah.
Without further ado. All right. So this episode opens up. The Unsullied, led by a grim-faced Grey Worm, line up in tight formation outside the walls of King's Landing. On the walls, Jaime Lannister and Bronn discuss how the latter is unnerved by the idea of soldiers without genitalia, as he's been around enough soldiers to know why they fight, and that the idea of soldiers who fight for no promise of sex is alien to him. As they talk, hordes of Dothraki ride in, a stark contrast to the disciplined Unsullied, who don't even blink as hundreds of horses flood past them. But the two ancient enemies are united in cause today. Yeah, I like his line, Bronn, in this. Maybe it's all cocks in the end. And Jaime's like, yeah, maybe it is all cocks in the end.
But then he also says, he goes, your brother sided with the cockless.
That's right.
Right? And when I heard that, I was like, okay, isn't he supposed to be Tyrion's buddy too? Like, I don't know what's going on here, man.
I like Bronn. He's
his own person, man.
Bronn's like, you wouldn't find me.
He plays both sides.
Bronn's like, you wouldn't find me in an army with no cocks, right? You wouldn't find me in an army with men without cocks, right?
This is your fucking computer, bro. You make me fucking cough while I'm drinking, man. Holy fuck.
I mean, it kind of sounds wrong, too, at the same time. You wouldn't find me in an army with men without cocks. Like some great quotes.
It makes sense back then, right?
Okay.
Except if you have Brienne.
At the harbor, Tyrion Lannister, Varys, Missandei, Jon Snow, and Davos Seaworth
pays off
nervously sail past Euron Greyjoy's fleet. Sandor Clegane, the Hound, goes below decks to check on their guest.
When you say Clegane, it always throws me off, because I've been writing down the Hound. Yeah, now, right? After, so I know it throws me off.
Ever since he's left King's Landing, and the brother on these notes, they refer to him as his name now, because he doesn't go by the Hound anymore, right?
No, yeah.
Nor did he before. That was a nickname they gave him.
Yeah. But anyways, so it throws me off still, because I like his name, the Hound.
Sure. Who is thankfully just as riled up as ever, their guest, when he goes to check in on him. Is it this moment that they talk about it? Hold on. I just was looking at my notes here. Hold on. In her solar, Cersei is informed by Qyburn of the arrival of Daenerys' party. Though there is no sign of Daenerys herself, Cersei promptly tells Gregor that if anything goes wrong at the mountain, he is to kill Daenerys. Gregor Clegane, Tyrion, and Jon in that order, then dispose of the rest as he pleases. The group arrives and are escorted to the Dragon Pit, the location of the summit. Tyrion reconnects with Bronn, who concedes it is good to see him again.
This is a nice scene, bro. I liked it, and I didn't know what to understand about it though.
The pair greet Podrick Payne, who has arrived earlier with Brienne of Tarth. As Pod goes off with Bronn, Brienne hangs back to talk with Sandor. They both acknowledge that they only fought to protect Arya, and she tells him that Arya doesn't need looking out for anymore. Rather, he should reserve his concern for whoever is unfortunate or stupid enough to stand in her way.
Well, he was kind of shocked,
which seems to amuse him. Yeah, no, he's actually really happy to hear that she's okay. Yeah, like it amuses him what she says too. And she's like, listen, no hard feelings. We both were just trying to protect the girl. By the way, she doesn't need protection anymore. She can protect herself, and she's fine. And he's like, he kind of laughs and like smiles about it. He's like, okay, good.
He does I
like that scene.
Like where he shows a little bit of emotion.
Yeah.
It's not really emotion, but it's his emotion.
Yeah. I like how everyone has to kind of play nice in this scene too.
It's so sad. It's like being
right
in a job or something.
And they're all kind of just being. They all have to kind of put on this fakeness for Cersei, right? Like it's because even the people that work for her, they're like, okay, let's get this charade on the road here. You know what I mean?
Well, anybody that works for a boss has to be like, okay. We gotta watch what we say now.
I just think there's a lot of good people being led around here under the guise that hey, listen, we all have to listen to the Queen because we're in King's Landing now, right? Because even some of them, I feel like just like we have no choice, right?
You're bound to rip your head off,
right? I like how he had a line in here too. I think he's like, "Come on, you can suck his magic cock later."
Yeah, dude, says that. I was fucking dying, bro. Those two, man. Oh, and they have a scene where they're walking together.
Bronn and Tyrion, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. You're seeing a lot more of the whole Tyrion now instead of him sitting on a chair or him. He's walking around. He looks cute. Sorry, I don't mean to be like. I don't know if that's wrong to say, but yeah.
So I wrote down here a note, which I think I just missed because like it was mentioned at the harbor a couple of scenes back here. So
which one?
I was just trying to connect it. So at the harbor when they finally come in and John's kind of commenting on his surroundings. I wrote here the way that they describe the way he's questioning how people operate in the city because John isn't used to being in the city. I'm like, John describes basically the city of Toronto because in this scene, I don't know if you caught it. He says, all these millions of people crammed into here. Why would anyone want to live that way? He questions this. And he's basically describing the way most of the world lives in big cities in today's times.
Yeah.
But did you not catch that? It was kind of a clever, clever line on the writer's part, I think, to kind of have somebody from the North who obviously isn't accustomed to this way of life. This is the first time he's ever really been like in King's Landing, if you think about it. Because remember when Ned went to King's Landing from the north in the first season, he went to the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
So he's never seen big city kind of life like this. So he's questioning when they come in on the port, why would all these millions of people want to live here crammed into this one fucking space? Yeah. He comes from the north where there's people like more spread out. And I wrote down here the way he's describing it is basically the city of fucking Toronto or any big fucking city for that matter. I thought it was really clever for him to make that. I'm like, when I heard him
us
say
going north.
Yeah, when I heard him say that, I'm like, this is what they're commenting on. They're commenting on and it's you can say the same thing for today still, right?
Well, I mean, you think of it like that's Blackwater Bay they come into, right? So it's a bay, it's a harbor, it's where they come into, right? So that's more like any water.
He just can't wrap his head around that. He's just like, why would anybody want to live here? Like, you know what I mean? And like what he's describing, because of course in King's Landing, that's where all the action is too, and then Tyrion says to him, he's like, listen, the whorehouses here are really good too. Like he basically said that to him. This is this. He's like, oh, there's actually a lot of really good things here. Like the whorehouses are good.
They're up to standards. Yeah,
exactly. So that's so it's just one of those things where he is describing the world today in this show.
Go to a wildling whorehouse and tell me if it's any different than the Lannisters one. Big time.
Yeah. So at the Dragon Pit, the various factions meet.
This is crazy where they did that old Coliseum there.
Cersei Lannister, Jaime, Qyburn, and Euron representing the Iron Throne, and Jon Davos and Brienne representing the North and Daenerys' court. When Cersei demands to know where her rival is, the Dragon Queen makes a suitably dramatic entrance on Drogon's back. you know, she's just showing off at this
She
point.
is.
Yeah.
She's showing the size.
Yeah, which I think is the right
of her
move.
dinosaur.
I think it was a good move on her part. With
Dragon
Rhaegal flying overhead,
Yeah.
Sandor, for the first time in years, comes face to face with his brother Gregor. Well, face to helmet, I should say, and
Yeah.
wonders what exactly
Eyes,
and wonders what exactly has happened to him. He's like, "You're fucking uglier than I am now." He's like, "What the fuck did they do to you?" Yeah, and he hates his guts.
He's
Like,
always gonna kill him still.
well, his brother and him have want to kill each other.
Yeah.
They've wanted to for years. He hates.
Sounds familiar.
Because his brother's the reason why he's scared of fire.
Yeah. No,
Right?
that again.
Yeah. Sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar.
So that was pretty cool too. I think for him to kind of see now what's happening.
It's still funny because he's still towers over the Hound.
Mm-hmm.
Again, he's even bigger, I feel, now than he was before he fought him, right? It was weird.
And wonders what exactly has happened to him before leaving to retrieve the captured White Walker. Sandor ultimately muses, however, that what happened to Gregor is irrelevant and promises what's left of his brother that he still intends to end Gregor.
Yeah.
Euron tries to posture, threatening to kill Yara unless Theon yields to him, and basically derides the whole conversation, right? Like,
let me ask you a question though,
Yeah.
and I totally forgot this, and I didn't want to go back because I got a lot of notes here. But didn't he kill her already?
Oh.
His sister. Well, we had never seen her die. We've seen the bodies hanging.
So that was my question too, because I even said on an earlier episode that she was dead.
Yes.
So at the end of that episode, it looks like her body, dead body,
hanging.
is
There's like
hanging
3 of them there
on the boat.
Yeah.
So yes, it looks like she's dead.
But we don't know if that was her.
No, that was her. We just don't know if. I think she's dead in that scene. It looked like she was dead. I think he's just bullshitting here, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. I don't remember.
Yeah, because it threw me off.
But it looked like she was dead at the end of that episode.
Yeah, because when he said it, it threw me off.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he just fucking with
I think so. Yeah.
Theon?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Asshole. What an asshole. I don't like him. I don't like Euron.
Then he starts fucking making fun of Tyrion being a dwarf. Right?
Fuck.
And derails the whole fucking conversation. He's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, we're because they were walking up, they have this big proposition, and they're gonna show the White Walker.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's like, Tyrion's talking, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, Euron." He's like, not Euron. Euron's like, "Hey, Theon."
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill, and like he's like, "Excuse me, I'm talking here." Like Tyrion's like, "What the
Totally
fuck?"
talks over him, bro. We don't have people like you on our island. Then you got a little bit fucking straight up, you know?
Right.
We kill you.
Yeah, when Tyrion and Theon retort to his taunts with their own, Euron remarks that Tyrion would have been killed at birth in the Iron Islands. A furious Jaime orders Euron to sit down, who fucking hates him because he's hitting on his, his
sister,
yeah.
his wife.
And when he disregards the warning, Cersei repeats it. A subdued Euron returns to his seat. Also, you gotta love the exchanged look between Brienne and Jaime.
Yeah, they it's a weird kind of, it was like they wanted to give each other a hug, but they couldn't do it or something. It was a really weird, and it was a great way they said it. They did it without words, really, in a sense, and it really caught my eye.
And it even got Cersei looking like she's like what the
fuck is
that?
Yeah. Cersei,
well, she caught that last time that they were together, though. She is smart.
She is smart.
Yeah,
She's her father's daughter.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
Was it the Hound that said this?
Fucking Tyrion smarter.
Was it the Hound who said this line? I just wrote down the quote. He's like, "Am I gonna die in this shit city?"
Yeah, he says, I didn't want to come back here, so I didn't have to die. He was telling Brienne, I didn't want to die in this shit city. Right.
And of course, as always, Bronn and Tyrion's relationship always complicated but great. I love how they were both talking to each other as he's leading him up there, because now he's he's working for Cersei.
Yeah.
And he's just like, and he's like, "I missed you." He's like, "As did I." So let me ask you something. Were you nervous in this scene for these people, like trusting Cersei in this moment? How did you feel? What were your feelings going into this scene? Were you afraid something was going to happen to one of them?
Well, I mean, okay. Well, what at the most she's going to get away with killing a couple people if that was the case, because the dragon could come in and fucking just clobber everything. You know what I mean? Like, really, to be honest with you.
But remember, this is the first time Cersei's actually come face to face with Tyrion after everything that she thinks that he's done to her. She gives him, I wrote down here, The glare she gives him when he walks up is got to be the cuntiest fucking look like known to man that she fucking glares at him.
But she's playing the card, bro.
Yeah, but she despises him. Like the look on her face when he walks up, when he goes to start talking and Euron just fucking talks over him. Yeah. Like she gives him the dirtiest fucking look when he walks up because like she wants him dead. You know what I mean? Like,
but at this point, she already knows that thing confessed. So she's still doing it only because of the killing of the father.
Yeah.
I think that's a big thing, right? And she doesn't get that part of it, right? Because she's her father's daughter.
Again, so much happening and nothing happening at the same time. Just the exchange of glances and relationships between some of the characters in this moment. Great. It speaks volumes. It really says a lot about all the work that they've put into these characters and through the several seasons and the acting of these people. Absolutely. Yeah. I think it's just great. Because like I said, we just mentioned 3-4 different things that were happening, but it's not like we spent much time on any of it. You're seeing exchange of glances, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like glares.
Kind of leaves it up to your interpretation of what you've watched so far.
Yeah. Anyways.
Till we find out that they fucking kill everybody one day.
Getting the meeting back on track. Tyrion and Jon attempt to convince the Lannister queen of the greater threat coming from the north for them all. According to Tyrion, 1 million people all live crammed together in the city. They will soon become 1 million more soldiers in the army of the dead.
Does she not understand that once she dies, she is going to be part of another army? Like in that sense? Like these guys don't die; they just multiply.
Yeah, but they didn't really get into specifics of what happens with these dudes. But I think they thought showing her one of them would convince her. Otherwise, like why
they should let him eat somebody else.
Yeah,
and seen what happens.
Yeah, he almost does when he lets it loose here.
Mountain was the Hound was. You know,
I like too when he walks up too. He had that line about we're a group of people that do not like one another.
Yeah, he told them straight, man.
Yeah.
But you know, sometimes you got to do that, bro.
So Cersei callously responds that it will likely be an improvement for most of them when he talks about all the army of the dead. Her flippancy noticeably angering the normally stoic Jon. Cersei refuses to believe the claims, dismissing them as a ploy to trick her into lowering her defenses. To prove their claims, Sandor returns with the crate containing the White Walker, which is uncharacteristically silent. Sandor gets the crate open and is visibly frightened by what he sees as he cautiously peers inside it.
Dude, he does. Yeah, he is nervous.
Yeah. Because he's not moving around the thing inside of it at first. He has to hit the box, right?
Jump up at me.
Yeah. Which worries Jaime since he knows the Hound is not afraid of anything. Cersei watches the proceedings with a dismissively smug smirk the whole fucking time, just a shit-eating fucking grin on her face.
Oh yeah.
Sandor finally gives the crate a massive kick and knocks it over. The enraged White Walker promptly clambers out and charges towards the nearest target, Cersei. And the look of her face after she fucking sees it, it's the one I wrote down. It is literally the one of the few times, if not the first time, you've ever seen her scared of something on this show. Yeah.
But she pulls back really quick. Yes, she's good.
Yes, but she fucking look on her face like she's disturbed
when it got to that
close. Yeah. Like, and she's just like, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? Yeah, that was crazy.
But then she plays it off good.
Yeah. So that happens. Cersei, appropriately enough, completely stunned at the sight of the undead creature throwing itself towards them. The Lannister queen and her allies recoil in horror as Sandor pulls the screeching monster back on a chain. Its claw inches from Cersei's face and manages to slice the creature in half when it turns to attack him.
It's still moving.
Yeah. The Stark and Targaryen delegations watch it emotionlessly, but the Lannisters look on in shock as the White Walker's upper half continues to move, shrieking and snarling, trying to crawl towards Sandor, who slices off one of its outstretched hands. After clearly fascinated, Qyburn, the mad scientist, briefly examines it.
He's got the hand in his hand. He's going like, "Oh wow, what's this?"
And yeah, exactly. Using a torch provided by Davos, Jon uses it to demonstrate while he explains how fire can be used to stop them. He then uses a dragon glass dagger to kill the upper half, bluntly stating that if they don't win the coming war, such a fate awaits every person in Westeros, insisting that all their other conflicts pale in comparison to the Great War. This guy's a great salesman. The way that he demonstrated all this shit, I thought was masterful, and they're still not fucking convinced.
Smart.
These fucking people
He's so smart.
yeah, but just the way he's like, this kills them, like he gives them the fucking key to how to kill them. Like it's not like he kept that to himself.
No.
He's like, this is what we need to do. Like, guys, we need to fucking all work together here, right?
It's true, man.
The only fucking level-headed one amongst them in this whole fucking moment. Yeah,
well, he's one of probably the younger ones too.
Yeah. So, anyways,
we'll figure out why. We'll know why.
Yeah. So he talks about that. Daenerys, who has watched the whole thing poker face, states that she didn't believe it herself until she saw them all personally. A horror-struck Jaime asks how many that they have coming, and Daenerys tells him the army of the dead numbers at least 100,000. So Jaime has like a fucking oh my fucking god look on his face. Euron asks,
"Just the best.
This is the best." Yeah, Euron asks if they can swim. When Jon responds no, Euron announces to Cersei his intention to withdraw his fleet back to the Iron Isles. He declares that he has been all over the whole world and has never been terrified until now. On his way out, he tells Daenerys to retreat to her own island and to come to find him when they are only the two left alive.
He goes and throws a flirt. Yeah, he goes and throws a little fucking pickup line at Daenerys.
I love that. He's like, can they swim? No. Good. And then just runs away.
Yeah, he's like, I'm out of here, man. Fuck that. I'm taking my boats and I'm gone.
Smart as fucking what?
No, like straight up, man.
I love that. I'm like, this fucking coward.
You know what? I probably would have did that too.
Yeah.
You know?
Bro, I just said,
and then the only one that lives at the end, if that's what he thinks.
I wrote that here. I'm like, Euron is so shook, but he's possibly the smartest one there when he runs away.
Watch me. At the last episode is gonna be Euron's gonna be the one sitting on the throne, and it's gonna just throw me off. And you guys, no wonder you guys are pissed. So no, I'm just joking.
Although I will say later on we learned that apparently this was all just a ruse of him running off. He was actually going to do something else.
We can get to that. Yeah, we'll get to that in a few.
Seemingly convinced, Cersei immediately offers terms. Satisfied that Daenerys is concerned with the army of the dead, Cersei will not withdraw her troops, but will guarantee that they will not hinder the Targaryen or Northern forces in any way during the battle against the White Walkers. Basically, like, I'll move out of the way, but I'm not gonna attack you. I'll let you guys do what you want, like during this battle.
Well, I thought she was like gonna help until at first Cersei was gonna help until the war was over, and then they're back to fighting.
She refuses to deal with Daenerys at all, however, and calls on Jon Snow as king in the North and Ned Stark's son to keep the truce and to stay out of any future conflict between Cersei and Daenerys. Jon, however, says that he cannot serve two queens and reveals to all assembled that he has already declared for Daenerys. This is when he reveals it for the first time, other than the conversation that they had previously in the last episode.
Right?
Which infuriates all three Lannisters present at the same time. Tyrion as well. Why am I just learning about this right fucking now? I'm supposed to be with you. And can't you fucking get your noble fucking head out of your ass for once and actually lie? Like, what is wrong with you? Just say, yeah, sure, whatever. I bend the knee. Who fucking cares?
Well, that's what he said. Right? He's like, why do you got to be like that? Why do you got to be like a Stark and fucking can't you just lie?
Yeah. Declaring that there will be no truce if it is just her and Daenerys, Cersei storms out, content to let the Starks and Targaryens battle the undead alone and then deal with whoever emerges victorious from that conflict. Desperate, Brienne grabs Jaime and begs him to reconsider, as what they've seen goes beyond such petty reasons as houses, honor, and thrones. So Jaime doesn't disagree, but walks away, not knowing what he can say to convince his sister in this moment. Crazy, right? Like, he's like, I know. He's like, what do you expect me to do, though? Like, right?
What and she,
Brienne, like, having a relationship with him previously, is like, you know what I mean? Like, she thinks she can get through to this guy, but he's like, I'm being led around by this fucking woman now. That's what I mean. Like, he's just like,
if he's very bowed to her and that's his sister and his lover, or even if he gave up the love, I mean, he's still treason. It's still treason if he goes against her now.
I wrote down here, Cersei speaks logically for once until she isn't. Very fucking petty move, right? On her part.
Yeah, she's just stupid. I just don't think she understands what happens. She thinks that, it should be
fucking Jon.
Once they kill each other, they'll be fine. But you know what? They'll all be dead.
Fucking Jon and his loyalty, though, can't lie for fucking once, right? For the betterment of everybody.
Dad taught him the wrong way.
Meanwhile, Daenerys and Tyrion, who never knew about Jon's change of heart in the first place, criticize him over declaring his allegiance to public. Tyrion suggests that learning to lie just a little bit might be a good skill, while Daenerys points out that if they leave without an alliance, everything they've sacrificed, including Viserion's death, will have been for nothing. Jon responds that while Honesty may or may not have contributed to getting his father killed. If no one is willing to speak the truth, then everyone's word is worthless and lies will not help them win the coming fight. I get it, but I also agree that he could have just led like, yeah, whatever, sure. It's kind of a selfish move at the same time, I feel like. But Tyrion reluctantly decides that he will go and try to talk some reason into Cersei alone. Daenerys and Jon protest, fearing Cersei may kill him out of spite. But Tyrion insists it's the only way if they don't want everything they've done to be for nothing, and
does that lonely walk towards her, right? Like towards going to find
brave her. Fucking man. I don't think I would have been doing that at his position, honestly. No. But he knows he has no other choice, right? In the Red Keep, Tyrion, escorted by Sir Gregor, meets Jaime coming from the other direction, who confirms that he believes the threat of the dead, but has been unable to convince Cersei. He only accomplished talking at her until she denounced him as an idiot and threw him out of her office. Tyrion quips that he is the bigger idiot of the two brothers as he's about to willingly enter a room with a woman who's tried to have him killed at least on 2 occasions.
At least twice she's tried, bro.
I like that. He's like, we're both idiots then.
Yeah, we're both idiots. They're the same blood.
Jaime, aware that this could be their final meeting, wishes Tyrion luck before stepping aside to let Tyrion enter Cersei's office. Once alone, the two start trading barbs. Cersei mocks his affection for another foreign whore who doesn't know her place, while Tyrion quips Cersei must be frustrated. Daenerys isn't someone she can beat, abduct, or intimidate as she did before. Cersei changes her position, angrily blaming his murder of Tywin for the series of events that led to her younger children's deaths and the destruction of House Lannister's future. Tyrion maintains that Tywin deserved to die for both the years of abuse he inflicted on Tyrion and for trying to execute Tyrion on false charges, as well as insisting he loved Myrcella Baratheon and Tommen Baratheon almost as much as Cersei, and that he regrets what happened to them. Yeah, this is for a moment, it seems like they're finally unloading and being honest with one another in this scene. At least Tyrion is. Cersei, you never know what her motives are, even in this fucking moment. But it does seem like she's just like fed up, because when he walks in, she's just like got her head down. She's like, what the fuck? Like, and he's just like, he kind of is honest with her for a moment and just like, he apologizes.
Even says too, if you want to kill me, man, like, she can't do it.
He attempts to call Cersei's bluff, claiming that if Cersei genuinely blamed him for their deaths, then Gregor should just kill him right then and there. A tense moment passes, but Cersei refrains from giving the order. Relieved, Tyrion heads straight for the wine.
Yeah, bro, that was what I wrote. Straight for the booze.
They continue their discussion. Cersei angrily accuses Tyrion of plotting to bring down House Lannister with the help of Jon and Daenerys. Tyrion loses patience, retorting that he didn't know Jon had sworn allegiance to Daenerys and that without his intervention, Daenerys would have razed the Red Keep to the ground with everyone inside it. When Cersei questions why Tyrion stopped her, he replies that he believes she will make the world a better place and that she serves Daenerys to curb her excesses, unlike Cersei, who freely indulges her worst impulses. Cersei retorts that her only interest is protecting those who she cares about, musing if Euron didn't have the right idea to flee somewhere safe with those who matter, at which Tyrion realizes that Cersei is pregnant. She also isn't drinking the wine that he pours for her.
She's touching her stomach, right? So he kind of clues in. He's not. He
looks
stupid,
at it and he's just like, "What?" I mean,
they're only guessing.
Is she lying?
That's what I mean. They're only guessing, right? It's not a pregnancy test. Sorry, guys. You gotta wait 9 months.
All I'm gonna say, and I'm not saying this is the case.
9 months could fly by in a scene.
There's been 2 moments now with her brother and Tyrion where she's hinted at the fact that she's pregnant, where she's gotten her way out of the conversation. Just gonna say that.
Yeah, they don't see the belly's changed, and I mean, some time's passed. I mean, like you know, the 9 months will go by like this, so we'll see.
So then they cut the scene from there after he realizes this. Back at the dragon pit, Daenerys and Jon discuss the dragons and how her ancestors caged them, and in turn became less impressive as the power of the dragons waned. Jon questions Daenerys'
smaller
assertion of infertility, particularly when she admits that she never got informed opinion about her condition from anyone except Mirri Maz Duur herself. Their conversation is interrupted by the return of all 3 Lannisters. Cersei has agreed to work with Daenerys, but not by keeping her troops back. The Lannister army will march north to fight alongside the Starks and Targaryen. So it looks like Tyrion has made huge progress.
Yeah, we don't know yet, but I mean, we never know until you actually hear the deal go through.
Now we're back over to Winterfell. Sansa discusses the potential threat of her sister Arya Stark with Peter Baelish. Baelish tries to manipulate her as usual because, as you know from last episode, it looks like they're having a falling out, encouraging her to think as she does. He tells Sansa to ask herself what Arya's worst possible motivation is, seemingly overcome with horror at the thought that Arya would want to take her place and reign as Lady of Winterfell. It seems that Sansa decides to do something about it, to Baelish's quiet delight.
But didn't Baelish say something about that to her at that moment that Jon had bent the knee?
I don't know if he did.
Scene? Yeah, I thought he had said something because
I don't know if he does here.
I said he's putting a lot of shit into her head too.
Yeah,
you can tell.
But more on that later, because I do have a question about all this to you, but we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
So then since they've now agreed to join them in the battle, they're back on Dragonstone in this next scene. See, it jumps around so much, I almost forget where we are.
I should write Dragonstone because Jorah and Jon.
Yeah, on Dragonstone in the chamber of the painted table, Daenerys and her court discusses logistics. Apparently, they've left King's Landing. We don't even fucking know that, and that's
Well, I mean, she's on a fucking dragon, so she can get out quick.
It will take the Dothraki a fortnight to reach Winterfell, and the plan is to have Jon and the Unsullied cross the sea by ship and meet them at White Harbor. Jorah Mormont points out that the North is not really safer for her than anywhere else, as someone with a memory of Robert's Rebellion and an idea of becoming a hero could easily take her out with a single crossbow bolt. He suggests she fly to Winterfell to avoid any potential unpleasantness. Jon counters that Daenerys ride with them so that the North can see her as a liberator and ally. After a moment's consideration, Daenerys decides to sail to Winterfell with Jon. Jorah, suspecting a different reason for her decision, throws her a look, which she notices but avoids. After the meeting, Theon talks privately with Jon. He tells Jon that even when they were growing up at Winterfell, Jon always seemed to know the right thing to do. Jon explains he has made mistakes and has done things he regrets. Theon replies, "Not compared to me, you haven't," and confides that he has always felt torn between his Greyjoy heritage and his Stark upbringing.
It's crazy, eh?
Yeah. Comes back around here. Tried to do the right thing, but was uncertain about the right step to take. Jon is angry about Theon's betrayal against his family and tells him that their father, Ned Stark, was more of a father to Theon than Balon Greyjoy ever was. That he was a fucking dick. We know that. However, Jon relents and tells Theon that he had never lost Ned. Ned is a part of both of them, and Theon is both a Greyjoy and a Stark. He says he can forgive Theon for what is in his power to forgive. Theon confides that when he was Ramsay's prisoner, his sister Yara was the only one that tried to save him, and that he needs to save her now. Jon encourages him to go and save Yara.
What are you still doing here?
Whether or not she's alive, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But
it's throwing me off,
man. Honestly, like something we as viewers and Theon himself were quick to forget that he is also considered a Stark. Like he was from day one a Stark as far as we were introduced to him. Yeah. So like, I think, it's nice that he finally fucking realized that again.
Season 2 that he realized he was a Greyjoy.
And the only reason that we realize that again is because he realized that again is because Jon was able to forgive him. Right. So anyways, Theon returns to the remaining Ironborn, who continue to regard him with disgust. Theon tells his men that Euron has his sister and that they must go back for her. This guy shuts Theon down, declaring him a coward, and proclaims that they are going where they can rape and pillage as they usually do. Theon reminds them that Yara has forbidden their old ways, but he threatens Theon and begins to assault him, telling him to stay down. Although he is knocked down, Theon barely reacts to the blows, as he has experienced far greater pain at the hands of Ramsay Bolton.
I love that.
Right?
He was taking a beating.
Yeah, he gets up to the attack, but he continues to beat Theon again, insisting he stay down or he will kill him. Theon once more defies him and attacks him, who grabs Theon, kicks him several times in the crotch.
I said the vagine.
He's like, did you see the way
he just went?
Yeah.
Like this total like hero face went on him after.
Yeah, ball kicks do nothing to him anymore, right? He finally wins the fight because of that. However, as Ramsay has previously castrated Theon, there is no testicles for him to injure. Theon smiles as he gets the upper hand, smashing the captain's face practically to a pulp and beating him into submission. The other Ironborn finally give in, accepting Theon and his mission. Yep. As they prepare to set sail, Theon wades into the sea to wash his wounds in salt water, embracing his identity as an Ironborn.
The way he did that, it was just like,
finally, this motherfucker gets a win here. Finally, after us seeing him fucking get beat on for 4 fucking seasons.
Showed some remorse and gets some forgiveness and grabs, who knows, that he grew no balls. And he still
not
won.
only that, as a coward, as much of a coward as he's been, the man with no balls finally grows some in this moment, and he gets saved by the fact he doesn't have it.
That was the best, bro. First, it took me a split second to realize what happened there, and then when I'm like, oh yeah, he's got no fucking balls.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
I'm like, nice, it worked.
Where are we now?
So Sansa and Bran
Sansa,
back to
all right.
Winterfell.
After a long time reflecting on her course of action, Sansa orders Arya to be brought to the Great Hall. It's a big scene, guys. In the hall, Sansa and Bran are seated at the great table. The hall lined with Stark and Arryn men and a few key lords such as Jon Royce and, of course, Baelish, who is watching the whole thing. As he does, nervous. With a fucking malicious little smile in the corner, it's creepily.
Got me nervous at the beginning of this.
Arya is brought in and asks Sansa if she really wants to do this. Sansa replies, it's not about what she wants, it's about justice. She proceeds to rattle off a list of crimes perpetrated against House Stark and asks Baelish how he intends to answer the charges. At this, all eyes turn towards Baelish. Thrown off, Littlefinger tries to figure out what is going on. Sansa reveals his murder of Lisa Arryn and his use of Lisa to murder Jon Arryn. Of course, Lisa Arryn, who he threw through the moon door.
Yeah.
Right? She uses his own words against him and accuses him quite correctly of orchestrating the conflict between the Starks and the Lannisters that has ultimately engulfed the Seven Kingdoms for the better part of the last decade, including the betrayal and death of her father, Ned Stark. Okay, I have a bunch of questions for you now here, Jay, because this is a big fucking reveal, this part. First off, did you see this coming in this moment?
I thought fucking they were talking about Arya. I thought she was going to have to kick all those guards' asses.
Because that's what they led us to believe all last episode. So now my second follow-up question to you is, were they purposely doing all of that just so he would creep on them and see this, witness this happening? Or did they really did have a falling out and then realize, hey, this guy's behind all this once again because they know better at this point? What do you think is really what happened here in this scene? How far?
She made a comment, didn't she, prior about the faces too, about being her sister, she can take her sister's face.
But that's what I mean. Like, were they, because there's some moments that we witness in those scenes that seem genuine, but were they doing that with the intention of knowing that this guy is creeping around the corners, watching them this whole time? You know what I mean? Like,
because how do they know that he was there?
But that's the thing. As viewers, we never actually seen him in those moments creeping on them. But he has a tendency of finding things out, this guy. So do you think they purposely push this whole shit, that scenario that they were beefing with one another just so they can catch them off guard in this moment? And if they were, which parts of those were real and which parts weren't? See, that's the problem. This is not very explained very well. It is a huge surprise, but like, what were they doing it for our sake as the viewers, or were they doing it for the sake of Baelish, tricking Baelish?
Okay, so remember when Baelish talks to that guy about, is this the only letter left and blah blah blah?
Right.
Arya knew about that.
Right.
I know she was there too as well, but was she maybe she that must guy?
Have, so you know,
she might have been that guy that brought that letter to him because she might have found it previously. Maybe they just didn't.
Because here's where I think that they started to figure things out. When she got the letter and she came across that, when he's creeping in that corner, I think that she knew that he was creeping in that corner during that scene, and then she was playing into this whole thing. Because remember, she's a master fucking sneakster now.
She's very well trained, right? I mean, like,
so I don't think and then there's the scene
pays attention
where Sansa does bring up exactly what he told her, where he's like, you got to put all the pieces together. And she's like, oh yeah, I figured it out for myself. And she even says, I'm a slow learner, but I learned, she says in this scene. So, like, do you think she literally just figured this out, this last scene, and then went to Arya and said, like, why are we fighting? This is the guy that's been fucking around this whole time?
Did Arya say that I want to play a game in this scene, or was it Sansa said the same thing? They play a game, and I asked myself questions. That's what I'm wondering. Did Arya say it this time?
No, it's Sansa that says it.
Both times, right?
No, Baelish says it to her in the last scene. Now Sansa throws it back in his face in this scene.
Okay, no, sorry. I thought it might have been
Arya. And she basically used his own messaging to her back to him, saying, like, you have everything to gain from this situation of us not be and you're the ones who's been manipulating everybody, because she brought up finally knowing everything that he had done this whole time, and she couldn't do nothing before. But now he's in a position that she's in charge, and she could actually do something about it.
Well, I feel too that with the Brienne saying not to stay there with Baelish, that she doesn't trust him. I have a feeling that played a part with it. So she maybe went and talked to him and said, "Listen,
Yeah.
and then what would you do in this scenario?"
See, this
She
is
was
the
playing her
problem.
part,
I
her
don't think
game.
this was very well orchestrated.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
obviously, right?
Yeah.
You
I think
kind of got to read between the
I
lines.
think all the pieces are there, and the reveal is still pretty fucking crazy. What happens here?
Yeah.
Did not see this coming. At least I didn't first time around. It
Mm.
sounds like you didn't either. But there, even so, I just don't think it was unraveled very well because there's
they
a lot
also
of
showed
plot
that Bran
holes.
seen
There's a
bunch
lot of
stuff.
plot holes.
Maybe the Raven was flying around at that moment.
Right. Well, he knows a lot of things, right? He knows a lot of things about Baelish.
Past,
because,
future, and present, right?
And she is the one that says, I like to play a little game. She's like, I'm a slow learner, but I learn eventually. Right.
Yeah.
So like, yeah. So that's the only thing I unclear on is how much they were playing up this scenario, hoping that he was watching.
I feel too, maybe that Bran, all those times he was at the tree staring and fucking working out. I just feel like he was studying because he was able to go back farther. Remember?
Right.
So maybe he's seen something along those lines where Baelish was talking.
So Baelish tries to deny this, but Bran uses his green sight. Bran uses his sight to recall the exact words Baelish said as he held the knife to Ned's throat.
That's where, because they were fighting outside the wall.
Swiftly realizing that he has lost control of the situation and the trial is just a drumhead, Baelish demands that Lord Royce take him, the Lord Protector of the Vale, to safety. Bronze Yohn refuses him with the words, I think not. In desperation, Baelish falls to his knees,
this is
very
hilarious.
Cowardly, and pleads for his life.
Please.
Sansa, I always loved you.
I love you.
I've loved your mother. I loved
That's
you.
Even more disgusting.
Sansa. Yeah.
I loved your mother. I love you. And oh my God. And we know he loves her in a different way, like the same way he loved his mother.
Yeah.
But no, that's what I mean. That was when they were fighting outside that castle that time. That was that Baelish fighting with Ned that time when they were fucking and
that's what they're referring to.
I think so, right?
He falls to his knees and pleads for his life, insisting yet again how much he loved Cat and how much he now loves Sansa. But Sansa is unswayed by his pleadings, sentences him to death, and promises she will never forget all the lessons he taught her, sharing a look with Arya. As Baelish tries to speak, Arya walks up and slits his throat with the same.
I don't even know if she slit it.
No, she did.
I thought you just went and killed the fucker.
No, she slit his throat.
Yeah.
She slit his throat with the same Valyrian steel dagger that lay at the heart of his plots, like that he ended up giving to Bran.
Yeah. See, this is where Bran must have went back to look.
Littlefinger bleeds out and slumps dead to the floor. The Northern and Vale men and women watching dispassionately. At long last, the War of the Five Kings is ended and justice meted out on the one responsible. Really satisfying fucking scene. Finally, he got his. But I got a couple of comments on
the
this.
whorehouses will never be the same.
No. I like that whole scene where she's like, my sister asked you a question when she like is accusing him of stuff, and like Arya jumps in, and the look of shock on his face, priceless, because he always feels like he's got the upper hand in all situations, right? But I gotta say, his storyline I wrote down here really petered out this season. It really did. I think I feel like they didn't know what to do with him anymore. Mm-hmm. And even though he got what he deserved, he literally was just very creepy at the end.
He was in the way too.
Yeah. His storyline, I think it went in the wrong direction. I don't feel he had a satisfying end for as much of a great character as this character was. I mean, satisfying in the sense he got his, yes. He deserved it, but not to the point where like it felt like the last two seasons they didn't know what to do with him. All he was doing is creeping around. All he was literally doing the last two seasons is like standing in the back and like giving creepy fucking looks on his face. He was plotting the whole fucking time. Right?
They let the queens and the ladies do it. They ended up doing it, so it's almost like it was like you ran you kind of die by who you were making money off of back in the day. It's a weird way to die. I don't know, man. They're judged by them.
I wrote down here because he was pleading for his life in this moment. He even says Sansa as he gets his throat cut. He's like, Sansa.
Yeah, bro, that was like that's the last time we're gonna hear it. Thank God.
Sansa not so stupid as we thought, and Baelish not so smart apparently.
Well,
there you go.
Sansa and Arya are Starks, man. What the fuck?
All right, so.
Can't be stupid, but they're not. It's funny that Ned was such a nice guy. They're
a little bit more bloodthirsty.
They're a little bit more. Yeah.
All right, moving on. After the enemy delegation has left, an eager and relieved Jaime back in King's Landing, meets with his commanders to discuss the logistics of moving the army north. Cersei enters the map room and asks what he is doing. Dismissing the commander, she tells Jaime he really is the stupidest Lannister. Shocked, Jaime listens as Cersei explains that Euron has not abandoned her, but has gone to Essos to ferry the Golden Company, which she had mentioned she wanted to hire previously for more people, back to Westeros. She intentionally leaked her pregnancy to Tyrion so he would believe her. And now she's using it to her advantage, this pregnancy. And now she intends to allow their enemies to exhaust themselves against the army of the dead and then have the Golden Company clean up what's left of whoever wins in the north. Jaime is furious that his sister and Euron plotted this behind his back, but Cersei angrily accuses him of plotting with Tyrion in favor of their enemies. Reeling from the accusation, Jaime incredulously reminds her that someone is going to win the battle in the north regardless and come south afterwards. He's like, you fucking idiot. Like, are you serious?
That's what I mean. I wrote down too. I said, does she even get it?
Right. Yeah, exactly. If the dead win, they will add the defeated Stark and Targaryen forces to their numbers and kill all in their path without mercy. If the living win, the realm will know Cersei left them all to die and will march south to settle the score. Yeah. Either way, you're gonna have a huge fucking army you can't fight on the way here. That's what he's trying to say to her. Yeah. Why are we going to?
She doesn't get it, bro.
Cersei, however, is indifferent. Finally seeing his sister for the power-mad narcissist she truly is, Olenna Tyrell's warnings ringing in his ear that she told them. She warned him before she died, remember?
Yeah.
She's like, your sister is no good. She told him. It's like, I've never seen someone as evil.
Man.
Jaime disgustingly declares that he, at least, will fight to honor the pledge he made. When he tries to leave, this is the point of no return here. He finds his way blocked by Sir Gregor. Cersei furiously insists that she will kill him as a traitor if he tries to leave. But Jaime calls her bluff and storms out, and Cersei does not give the order. He literally turns to her, he's like, I'm the only one you have left. Yeah. You're really going to fucking do this right now? Yeah. But I feel like as soon as he walked through that door, and we don't know what happens past here with him this season, something changed in the dynamic right there and then. There was no going back on what happened in that moment. No. You know what I mean? Like that, the fact that she said that to him, he's so disgusted by her. Like, I just wrote down here, disgusting display of power, draws a line in the sand with Jaime. Final straw was her threatening to kill him. Jaime has honor as a knight still, and it gets called into question in this moment. But, and just being smart about the situation, not even just like his allegiance to, like, he's just like, are you fucking idiot?
Yeah,
like, he's like,
you just don't get it.
No.
Again, I don't know how much more I have to bang your head against the wall to understand.
But I guess we do kind of see somewhat what happens to him at the end.
Kind of smart. Like she says, she asked where the third dragon was.
Yeah.
She did.
Alone, Jaime rides out of King's Landing, having discarded his Lannister armor in favor of rougher and less recognizable traveling clothes. Realizing how conspicuous he is, he nervously pulls a glove over his golden hand. Yeah. As he does, a single snowflake lands on his glove. Jaime looks up and sees snow begin to fall from the gray sky, carried by a chill wind. As Jaime rides away, the snow begins to cover King's Landing in its entirety. The streets, the houses, the ruins where the Great Sept once stood, the little skulls in the Dragon Pit, and even Cersei's map in the Red Keep. Winter has finally come for the South at last. Yeah. After 7 seasons of people saying winter is coming, finally it is come.
They got back and forth quick, but winter fucking took forever. There's 7 seasons to show up.
You gotta love the peaceful music in this scene and the falling of the snow. It's like winter has finally come.
Off, yeah. I thought that was almost like the end of the episode, like that.
Poor fucking Jaime, though. Yeah. I feel for the guy in this scene, man.
He's caught between a rock and a hard place, man.
Because he loves and hates the woman.
But you see the ride off, it kind of made me wonder. It was like, is this the end of the episode?
Nope. Sometime later, Samwell Tarly and Gilly arrive at Winterfell. Upon hearing that Bran is back, Sam calls on them, recalling their meeting at the Night Fort some years earlier. Bran is glad to see Sam, but is surprised to find him here.
A lot of information here, buddy.
Yep. Here we go. When Sam reiterates his loyalty to Jon, Bran, unable to keep it a secret any longer, reveals the truth of Jon's origins. He was born to Rhaegar Targaryen and Lyanna Stark. So we find out the other fucking person in that scenario that Ned had to hide is not other than his sister, Lyanna Stark, is none other than a fucking Targaryen, which means, folks, that Jon is fucking his sister at the end of this fucking episode.
Half sister. Let's just put it that way.
But let's put it this way. now that we've watched House of the Dragon, we know this is nothing that they're not used to. Right?
So either way, he's
right?
well, that's the heir to the Mad, and that's the Mad King. No, that's the Mad King.
No, Lyanna is Ned's sister.
Yeah,
and the one that she banged is
Rhaegar, not Aegon, not the other one.
So this was hinted at previously through another season when we talked about this. It was hinted at because we knew Lyanna was one part of it.
Well, who's the Mad King?
The Mad King, I don't know.
Who's the Targaryen?
I don't know.
And Robert was on there, no?
I always forget the one. Aerys the second. Aerys Targaryen.
Yeah.
The second. The Mad King. Yeah.
Okay. Aerys.
Okay. They all have similar names. That's the problem.
That's
yeah.
Rhaegar, I feel like I heard Rhaegar in House of Dragons for some reason.
All right. And yeah, so he's the one that banged her at the Tower in Dorne, and is not a snow at all, but a sand. Because he was born on that side of the world. Remember, they've talked about this for the bastards. Like you said, half.
Yeah.
Sam realizes that it isn't true, that isn't true either, recalling the entry from High Septon Maynard's private journal about annulling Rhaegar's marriage. Bran expressed his doubts, but Sam reiterates the private nature of the journal and encourages Bran to use green sight to confirm it, his like sightseeing thing. To his own surprise, Bran easily finds the wedding, where he sees a clearly happy Lyanna wedding Rhaegar in a Faith of the Seven ceremony before a heart tree. Warging forward to the Tower of Joy, Bran finally hears Lyanna's dying words. Now piecing the truth together, Bran declares that Rhaegar never raped Lyanna. She loved him and ran off with him and bore him a son, Aegon Targaryen. There you go.
Fucking trip.
Right? His voice breaks a little as he realizes that Robert's rebellion, the deaths of his grandfather and uncle, and the entire reign of House Baratheon of King's Landing was all for nothing and built on a lie. And his cousin, raised as his illegitimate brother, is and has always been the heir to the Iron fucking Throne.
Yeah,
Jon is the heir to the throne, the best amongst them, and without even knowing
it. He's a Targaryen, but he's also Stark as well. He's fucking
trip.
He's double fucking whammy.
What a trip, eh?
No bastard, he's not no bastard.
What a fucking crazy reveal. And this is something that the people that had read the book when the show was coming out at the time actually knew. And thankfully no one ruined it for me, because I knew some people that had read the book, but they knew this fucking big reveal was coming at this point. Yes.
I didn't know. I thought he was gonna die again.
It's
still a whole nother season.
I like to I don't really like it. He's fucking weird now, but like Bran, when he walks up, he's like, Samwell Tarly, I wasn't sure you would remember me. He's like, I remember everything. Yeah.
And then just that's one line.
He's like, what happened to you beyond the wall? He's like, I became the three-eyed raven. And Sam's like,
what the fuck is that?
He's like, oh, he's like, oh yeah, of course. Like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Oh. That's the
Jay, was your mind blown when this happened?
It was, bro. Because he doesn't even look. He doesn't even have a lighter color hair. It's dark.
Anyways, after this is revealed on the Narrow Sea, sometime after setting sail, Jon knocks on the door of Daenerys's cabin.
It was during it was like in the same scenes. They were like going back and forth.
She answers and meets his gaze without words. After a moment, he enters and with her eyes still locked, shuts the door. Unaware of the truth of Jon's heritage, the fact that they are biologically aunt and nephew. Bro, they're aunt and nephew, these two, because of when they were born. They're not brother and sister. They're aunt and nephew.
Oh, wow. This is just...
They finally give into the burgeoning passion between them and consummate their relationship. They bang. What an incestuous transition here, bro. So here we go. This is the part I wanted to get back to here. Unknown to both of them, Tyrion had also been on his way to speak with his queen and had seen Jon enter the cabin. Yeah. Silently concerned at the possible implications of what may occur, Tyrion walks away, but he's creeping around watching them get it on, it seems like, at first, right? And this is where the question came up. Is he in love with her, and was he trying to keep Jon away from her this time, right?
Maybe.
right? There's a possibility.
In a way, right? But also, I mean, the poor guy hasn't got laid in a while. There's no whorehouses, he said. I haven't seen him get into the
That's right. He's
so,
been a good boy.
Maybe he just wanted to watch. It was like, a porn station for him.
All I wrote down here is that this totally tracks. The Targaryens all commit incest anyway. Said House of the Dragon, right? They're a very incestuous family.
Yeah, it's the only way, I guess, you can grow the world if you got to keep sleeping with each other. Fuck, man.
And finally,
Jon's there.
On the battlement, Sansa and Arya discuss Littlefinger's plots and how much they, as people, have changed. Arya tells Sansa that she wouldn't have been able to survive what Sansa did. Sansa disagrees, saying Arya is the strongest person she knows. So they clearly make up. So they must have had some brief with each other. It must have been planned only up to a certain point, though, I think.
Until they figured each other out.
Yeah, I think they did actually have a falling out for a moment there.
But they had to, you know what it is, bro? It seemed like it only happened for about a week.
Yeah.
So you know what happens then. Right?
Their sisters muse on one another on another of their father's sayings about how lone wolves die in the winter, but wolf packs survive. They realize the truth of his words as their remaining family needs to stick together.
Well, you know what? It's true, because when they went off on their own, their wolves started dying, if you noticed.
That's right.
Right?
That's a good point.
But is there any other wolves left? Who's got a wolf still? Nobody. Bran?
Ghost, I think he died, right?
I don't know.
Did Jon's direwolf die?
I don't remember.
I can't remember. He might be still at King's Land at the wall.
It wasn't hers. Remember, there was a bunch of them. There's a few of them.
I think they might be all dead.
But there was a few of them that Arya walked into.
Arya's is still alive. Remember, she's like, I don't recognize him anymore. Like, kind of thing.
A different face or whatever. But yeah.
And then Tormund and at the wall, we end off at the wall here. Tormund and Beric review the defenses atop the wall at Eastwatch by the Sea. Tormund remarks that the crows say he'll get used to the height, but he admits it'll probably be a while. Suddenly, the pair sees movement at the edge of the haunted forest. A White Walker emerges atop an undead horse, followed shortly by a horde. More and more White Walkers emerge as the night watches horns sound 3 times.
Seen this coming, because the stupid send his ravens and they follow them back.
Yeah. However, the army of the dead stops some distance from the foot of the wall, and Tormund looks relieved. Despite their numbers, the dead don't have anything that could possibly get them past the barrier. But then all on the wall stop in horror as they hear a very familiar sound, a screeching roar mixed with the heavy thumping of huge wings beating the air.
Fuck.
Suddenly, the undead Viserion swoops down with the Night King riding on its fucking back in a burst of bright blue flame.
Thing on it.
Viserion demolishes some of the scouting platforms atop the wall and then turns his flames against the wall itself. Realizing that they have no chance against such a foe, Tormund shouts for them all to run, and the Night's Watch brothers and wildlings alike desperately try to evacuate as ice melts and rock crumbles. Tormund and Beric watch in horror as the entire eastern extremity of the wall collapses under Viserion's breath and crashes into the sea, leaving a gap between the wall and the sea large enough for the army of the dead to cross. Yeah. It's on now. A road now open to them. The White Walkers direct themselves to begin their march into the north. The White Walkers and giants and other monstrosities march by the thousands into the north as the undead Viserion and Night King fly overhead to lead the march. The Great War has begun.
So what I don't understand was that cold, that blue shit coming out of it. Was it fire?
It's ice, bro.
So it was just
it's like Godzilla. Ice? You know how Godzilla has that fucking ray,
but his is radioactive.
Yeah. So this is basically it's like an icy fire. Like it's cool. It's gonna.
When the way it hit, it didn't look like it was really melting. It looked like it was breaking through.
Yeah.
Like it was.
I think it was just a hard ice, but it's still a fire, like kind of like right? Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But that's what I mean. It looks like the ice is beating the fire. Like it's a trip. I don't know, man. I don't know what this next season is going to bring me. And I just want great CGI, man, because
great episode too.
It turned out a lot better than the CGI in the last episode.
So I think the biggest reveal up to this point, obviously, was the reveal that Jon is actually the king. And
I wonder if he's got an egg somewhere.
We'll find out. He has he's never grown up as a Targaryen, though.
But maybe he has an egg somewhere, and then Daenerys can lay on it and fucking hatch it from.
So his aunt is banging him. That's all we know at the end of the. And there you have it, guys. That's the season finale of season 7, The Dragon and the Wolf, the aunt and the nephew. Season 7, episode 7, the finale of Game of Thrones. What a reveal. What a journey
the
so
only
far,
understand
Jay.
thing I can understand is maybe why they called it the dragon and the wolf is because the dragon is the wolf and the wolf is the dragon.
There you go.
Bada boom.
But there you have it. That does it for the finale of season 7, guys.
And I'm dying to watch the next one.
Join us next week when we return. It will be Christina will be back on here with us. Our guest Christina, super fan, friend of ours. That'll be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to that. And she'll be on with us the duration of the last season of Game of Thrones, and that's season 8. 6 more episodes to go, guys. 6 more.
We might have to double them into fucking 12, man. If we have to talk the way
a
the
lot
three
to
of
unpack.
us are gonna talk,
a lot to unpack. Yeah. So Jay, yeah, I know you're very much looking forward to it, as am I, and I hope you guys are too.
We're out of book, so I got to get more.
Come back next week and see us then. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Always
8 p.m. on Thursdays, guys. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. This has been a lot of fun. And as we go into the final season of Game of Thrones. All right, guys. We'll see you guys next time.
Peace out.
Later. Sansa.
And to the fucking